Hey folks, man, this is Cory. We're back with another Classics of Cinematics episode. And this is the show where we talk about the classic films that shaped and warped sometimes our film going experiences, man. I'm joined as always with my co-host. We got Bobby Blockbuster.
Yo.
And today we're going to be taking a look at 1992's Reservoir Dogs by Quentin Tarantino. And in this film, 6 criminals with pseudonyms and each strangers to one another are hired to carry out a robbery. The heist is ambushed by police and the gang are forced to shoot their way out. At the warehouse rendezvous, the survivors, realizing that they were set up, try to find the traitor in their midst. And this film has a crazy cast, starring also including the director Quentin Tarantino, Michael Madsen, Steve Buscemi, Tim Roth, Harvey Keitel, Chris Penn, and various others.
Yeah, right.
You know, but it's a relatively small cast, you know what I'm saying, for this film. You know, a lot of the extras people are kind of, you know, minor roles and stuff like that. Yeah, this is a banger, man. This is Quentin Tarantino's first directorial debut. I think his first film. He had a writing credit. Was that a True Romance, I believe?
So,
yeah. Tony Scott directed.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's an interesting one, man. So what stands out to you, man?
To me, you know, first and foremost, the simplicity of it. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a real, you know, condensed environment. You know, you get the, you know, pretty much the main part of the film takes place just in a warehouse. You
Mm-hmm.
know what I mean? You get some of the you know, the backstories of some of the characters and stuff. And the dialogue. I mean, that's really what carries the film, you know. It's just the conversations between, you know, the guys. Because, you know, with this being a heist film, normally with this style of film, you know, we get the, you know, the plot, the plan, you know, and then the execution. Whereas this one is kind of like the aftermath. You know what I mean? We're seeing how they're dealing with, you know, the heist after it didn't work out the way that, you know, they planned. And
yeah, that is interesting.
You know what I mean?
We don't see the job, but we see the escape and the you know, and them fumbling and all that stuff. So yeah, that is kind of interesting way to tell the story. It's almost a prelude to what he's going to do later with Pulp Fiction.
Right.
You know?
Right. And you know, and like I guess you know, they find out that somebody in there is a rat. You know what I mean? And you know, so they're trying to, you know, figure out who's the one that's, you know, the cop, honestly. And, you know, nobody really seems to know what's going on. Like, so, you know, the way that they carry that tone throughout the whole film, you know, it really just puts you on the edge of your seat, you know, as, you know, we're just waiting for everything to kind of unfold. And, you know, the way that Tarantino tells the story and the way that the actors are acting it out is just, it's very well done. You know what I mean? You know, like I said, keeps you on the edge of your seat the whole way through.
Yeah, because we don't know any much more than the, you know, the characters themselves. No, like one of my favorite scenes is the beginning. You know, when we kind of meet everyone that's on the job. It's kind of a meeting in this diner. It's kind of interesting, man. A lot of foreshadowing to other films because Pulp Fiction starts off the same way in a diner, but we get these guys sitting at the table with the boss who actually is, you know, putting the money up and outfitting these guys to pull off this job. I think it's a jewelry heist pretty much.
Yeah.
You know, they're trying to get some gems from a jewelry exchange. And it's crazy because we kind of meet all the players and we kind of get a little bit of their personality. I mean, these aren't good guys, but they all got their little quirks. So it's kind of funny. And I guess this is kind of a testament to Tarantino's writing. The dialogue of this thing is really interesting. It's kind of all over the place, but it's also it feels really natural. Like the flow of a conversation, man. They're starting off, they're going on for Madonna, and then, you know what I'm saying? And various things that just feel like a natural flow of conversation, you know, as you would just jump from one subject to the next. And then the whole tipping thing, man, that's so crazy, man.
Yeah. When Mr. Pink starts talking about why he doesn't feel he has to throw in the tip, you know what I'm saying? That's what, this is the smallest violin in the world playing for.
Yeah, he's got no sympathy for the workers, despite the fact that he didn't even pay for his breakfast. That's the crazy part. Right. He's still not putting in anything on it, man. It's wild, dude. But it definitely sets us up for the introduction of the characters, and it's kind of confirmed. I think this is the day of the job, right?
I believe, yeah. Yep. It's before they go to execute the plan.
And what I love about this, like the very next scene, is just them in the car. They're fumbling, they're having an engine problem. Look like they got in a small wreck. Tarantino's head is bleeding. They're just trying to get off the scene. It's really cool, man, the way it plays out, man. And like you said, they end up rendezvousing at the warehouse, and that's kind of interesting too, because we kind of get, like, at least with some of the characters, I like how they show Mr. Pink and him, fleeing the scene, and they're shooting at the cops. We don't even see the cops. It's all this thing was shot on a $1.2 million budget, so a lot of this thing is a lot of camera tricks, a lot of off-screen stuff. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, if you're gonna put this chase together, it's gonna cost way more loot, man. They got like one police car,
right?
And they're using it in so many creative ways to set this scene that the whole department is after these guys. But yeah, it's crazy, man. And like you said, it's a whodunit. One of the guys is wounded severely, and he's with Harvey Keitel. Is that Mr. Brown?
No, Harvey Keitel's Mr. White.
No, I mean the
Mr. Orange.
Oh, Mr. Orange. So yeah. Mr. Orange, Mr. White, and they're the first ones to get to the rendezvous point, and it's crazy. Credit to Tim Roth, he's still holding his cover. Like, he's believable, man. Like all the way through this thing. And this film is old, man. I mean, definitely want you to see it if you haven't, but I mean, turn this off, because we're going to be spoiling this. It's hard to talk about it in any depth without spoiling, but he's doing a good job playing the role of this mole, because I believed him for a long time in this thing, dude. Like,
like you see, like Mr. White, Harvey Keitel's character, it's almost like he turns into a caretaker. He feels like he has to, tend to Mr. Orange, not just because he got shot, but like he feels like he owes him. You know what I'm saying? Because he got shot in his presence. You know what I mean? Like, he didn't take a bullet for him, but when they were escaping and shit, he's like, man, he got shot right in front of me. I have to make sure that he's okay. And that, like you said at the beginning of the film, like we get a sense of all the characters, but we also get that feeling like they really all don't know each other, but they all know Joe. Some way, some shape or form. You know what I'm saying? But then as the film progresses, we see that some of them have a stronger relationship with Joe than others.
Some of them, like Keitel's character, you can tell he's been rocking with Joe for probably decades now, or whatever, and some have like I said, different experience and different levels. Like I feel like Mr. White is kind of in his inner circle with with the boss, but
and then Mr. Blanc, he's like a friend of the family almost. You know what I mean? Like, can't nobody say nothing wrong about him, even though he's the one where all the other people in the in the team, they feel like he's the one who kind of like brought the presence of the police, because he started shooting.
He's a loose cannon.
He's live wire. You know what I mean? But speaking of him, like the way that they build him up, like they, before he comes to the rendezvous point, like they just keep talking about him, like the shit that stuff.
Is he going to be okay?
Yeah,
like that kind of thing. Like, is he going to lose his cool? Is he going to blow the spot up?
Oh, man, he's just in there shooting everybody, pop, 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 pop. And then when he comes in, he's just so calm, cool, collected. Hey, my man has a soda. Like, after he escaped the bank robbery, it's like he stopped to go get a meal. You know what I'm saying? At a drive-through. Like, how who does that? You know what I mean? Like, when most of the time when you're trying to get away, you just get away and then you go wherever you need to go. My man stopped and got some food. You know what I mean? Like who stops at a drive-through when they're escaping from the cops?
But that actually would make sense. That looks natural. You want to blend in, not be the guy that's speeding down the highway, all bloodied up, and you know what I'm saying. But there's an interesting scene that happens in here, like when Roth gets shot. Thought that was crazy, because the cops pull up on him and Mr. White, and they're running, and Mr. White just lights these cops up in broad daylight, and you can see it in Roth's face, because he's undercover cop, and he's like, shot my dudes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he don't say nothing. But then I swear, if you look in the background of that scene, there's just a bunch of dudes standing around like it would be like how someone's working on their car and all the dudes crowd around. They just stand. I'm like, yo, you didn't hear these shots?
Right.
Like like a half a block over, like through the fence, and they just stand. I'm like, yo, this is so crazy. Maybe they messed up and they didn't have the budget to reshoot that and take it back. But then they try to steal a car to flee the scene. They approach this woman in her car, tell her to get out. She reaches in the glove box and pulls out a pistol, which was wild to me, dog. And she shoots Mr. Pink,
Mr. Orange.
Mr. Orange shoots Mr. Orange, and that's where that leads us back to the warehouse where we find out how he gets wounded. So it's like he's playing around with time early in this. I don't think it's as polished as what he did in Pulp Fiction, but he's playing around with those where we're going to go back later and show you what happened, and they're just jumping around with the order of events. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I think that was kind of a cool touch, man.
Absolutely. And then, like I said, when it comes to the dialogue, like when Mr. Pink first comes to the warehouse, like for him to be like so high strung, he still seems to be like level headed.
Oh, he's definitely, yeah.
He's reminding everyone, yo, be professional.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me your name. I'm not telling you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And like he never broke.
He's kind of a slime ball just off of that the diner scene to me, but like you said, he's the one that kept it together and kept it he kept it to the rules. He was playing by the criminal rules at least. He's definitely maintaining that, and just thinking ahead, and honestly, it makes me wonder, I guess they really need the money, some of them, because if it was me and that thing got blown up that bad, and like I'm surprised Mr. Pink ain't just roll out or never even made it to the rendezvous. Like, hey,
right,
this thing got blown up. I'm gonna catch y'all on the next one.
Yeah, because he when him and Mr. White start arguing, he even starts talking about like, man, I knew in my gut I shouldn't have did this shit.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And then he goes back to a story like, yeah, man, I remember one time when I was buying some weed from this dude, I was hoping that it was going to be some good stuff, but it wasn't. Mm-hmm. And I knew I shouldn't have bought it, but I was hoping it was, so I did. And then he got let down. You know what I'm saying? Like, he always has these quirky like, mannerisms with him, like, oh, well, this, and that's why he conducts himself the way he does. But, yeah, man, I like I said, this movie is it's so wild, the way the story builds and, how they, like I said, how they interact with each other, you know what I mean? Like, because they don't know each other. So it's a constant chest thumping, you know what I mean?
Yeah, then something interesting happens. Maybe about halfway through this, we get flashbacks, and we actually get the mole revealed. Like, it's blatant, it's Mr. Orange, and we see him actually building himself up to take on this undercover job and infiltrate, this crew. And I think there's some cool stuff going on here. I think this is when we see what's the guy's name? Randy Brooks, and he's playing kind of this guy's mentor. He's kind of the undercover guy that's showing him the ropes, teaching him how he should be, and basically explains to him like, you're acting, dude, and this is going to require a Marlon Brando effort, to fit in with these guys and pull this off and not get detected,
Yeah, and it's wild too, because before we get the backstory of Mr. Orange, we get like the most memorable scene of this film, and that's when Mr. Blonde is left alone with the cop that they have. He ends up exposing the fact that he had a cop in his trunk. He took a cop hostage so he could escape. They bring him into the warehouse. They all beat him up, and then when they go to the other Pink, White, and then what's his nice guy Eddie, Chris Penn. They go to clear the cars out, go get the diamonds and whatnot. And that's when he's left alone with the cop. And man, that's when you really see what kind of...
Yeah, he's a good guys, bro. And this guy's, and it makes sense because he's the guy they were warning us about. Mm-hmm. He's the guy that shot the job up. Yep. And of course, he's going to be the one that takes it to the next level. He wasn't cool just beating this cop. He just ends up straight torturing him. And honestly... I feel like if the guy was going to say anything, he would have said it when they were beating him. And to me, this is just gratuitous on his part, just to do it. he just wants to,
he tells them straight face, yeah, I'm going to torture you because I want to.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Then turns on the radio, starts dancing, pulls out the straight razor. And that's when we get the part where he cuts his ear off. And, in the 10-year anniversary edition, the DVD, they give you a different angle. You actually see him cutting it off. It's wild because, like, in the original version, they turn the camera away. We just kind of get, we get the gist of what's going on. But that other angle is like, oh man.
Yeah. When he finally, like, he just it's nasty because he's cut, he's beaten, then he's pouring gas on him, that's burning the wounds, and then he rips this guy's ear while it's hanging. That is nasty, man.
Yeah,
that's a nasty scene, bro. But yeah, so that like, for me, that was kind of interesting because then, not only is he training, with his partner to get ready to do this job, but he's also getting cool with the crew. He's hanging around these guys, and they're scouting out the job. They're driving around, figuring out their escape routes, and scoping out the place that they're going to be robbing. And and then we get more dialogue that gets a little wild, man. Like I don't know what it is with these guys, dude, in these gangster movies, man, but it always rubs me the wrong way. I know you're trying to tell us that these guys are kind of, pieces of but the racial stuff, it always makes it in, and it boggles my brain. Yeah. Like, black people be minding their business, and Scorsese does it all the time, throws a jab in there. Tarantino does it. And here, this is, I don't even think about it. Even the film he didn't direct, True Romance, he's managed to throw some stuff in there. Like, it's trademarked, but it's like, it's one of them things where I'm torn because I like this guy's work so much, but at the same time, it's like, but I always end up overlooking it because the rest of what he's giving me is so dang good. Like, it's
No, you're absolutely right. Like, I mean, I love this film, but that is the one part of all of his movies that just, it turns me off. You know what I'm saying? Like, because like you said, he finds it's almost like it's force fed. Like, you have to throw in this, this racial stuff, and it's like, I don't feel it's necessary.
It didn't add anything to the like they're already pieces of crap. Like you established that in so many ways, but then it's just like I gotta put it in here.
Yeah. And then it's like they're almost trying to find a way to justify themselves by, down in someone else who doesn't have nothing to do with anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's just,
and they get, I mean, some of the creators will have, well, this is how these guys would comport themselves, and I'm like, yeah, but you could leave that out of the movie, dude. It didn't add anything,
right.
It's just like, it's just, but then, we go through that. We actually do get to the point where they're actually in the planning room there. It looks like they're in the same warehouse that they eventually escape to, and the boss is there. He's got the chalkboard up, and he's, so what are you going to do? And, making sure everyone knows their part, which is, this is kind of cool. I think it stands out here again because of the dialogue, man. And it's just, and the crazy thing about it, like look at Michael Madsen, man. He was peak right there, dude. I think he kind of fell off, maybe substance abuse issues or whatever, but there was a minute, in the early 90s where he was killing it in a couple films, man. But then I don't know what happened, man. Like, he could have been dope, dude. Like, he could have been really one of them. Wasn't he Sonny Black? Dude, like he had a good run, but then he just like, it's like, it's wild.
Another cool thing about Michael Madsen, the car that he was driving that he had the cop in, that's actually his car. It's a 66 Cadillac.
Hey, man, when you got $1.2 million to make, and think about this, man, like, this is crazy to me. I feel like if more filmmakers got a chance to take more risks, I mean, look at all these guys, dude. Like, they're probably working for scale, just like the bare minimum that you could pay an actor just to get this film done. They're all taking pay cuts. My man using his own car, and I think that's why Mr. Orange's blood work it has that funky 70s look where it's just like gonna jazz it up. But you look at the budget constraints, and they were able to pull this off with this budget, man. This film probably definitely made its money back in spades. I don't think the theatrical run was that great. I think this thing hit the critical acclaim it hit, and when it hit home video, this is VHS era, and they probably like made money hand over fist off of this. In that regard.
Also, those that didn't see it, like after Pulp Fiction and the success that film had, people wanted to go back and see this one just because, of the success of Pulp Fiction and everything. Like, oh man, like I got to see his first film that he directed. You know what I mean?
Yeah. This will be in your Tarantino box set and all that. Like I'm watching it now, and when I pulled it up, because like I was like, I got to rewatch it, so I put it on the Google. And I was like, it's on HBO Max. I was like, all right, bet. Let me go ahead and get in that. And take it in like that. But it gets to the thing about this film though, as it gets closer to the end, that tension ramps up. I mean, after we get through with this flashback scene, like which is probably most of the second half, and then by then we've already established, everyone's suspicious. We get the police brutalizing the cop scene. But then when it comes back, it's at a fever pitch. Like I think at this point, the boss's nephew has showed up, and he's asking questions, and he's like, "Yo, there's somebody ratted us out. There's a mole." So that ramps up the tension, and then they start, going around. Was it you? That kind of thing. And honestly, some of them have good instincts because they're zeroing in on Mr. Orange. Immediately he's like, "I'm not a cop," and then Mr. White's vouching for him, like, "Nah, dude, this guy's a good kid, blah blah blah." But it's so wild, dude. It's great, like that tension. Like I think that those final moments still hold up so well, dude.
Absolutely.
It's like,
absolutely. And like you said, the fact that like they just they keep this confusion. Like no one seems to know what's really going on. Like when Nice Guy Eddie shows up, like they're all asking him questions, he's asking them questions, and nothing's really getting answered. You know what I mean? Like, and like you said, when it all really unfolds, it's just like, wow, this is really happening the way it's happening. You know what I'm saying? Like, and because the story is told so well, like it also creates like good rewatchability. You know what I'm saying? Like even though after the first time, what's happening, like every time I watch this film I still enjoy it just as much, just because of the story building and my love for the characters and like I said, the dialogue and everything, the interactions. It really just it makes this film awesome on a lot of levels. No, it's funny because I got it on in the background, and that scene just came by where he smokes the cops, and I'm telling you, dude, the whole neighborhood is out here, and he's just chilling, like, and they just see him do that, like, boom, look right there, all those dudes right there, they're not even looking that way. This guy just he emptied his clips into those cops, like and they're just sitting there, like it's crazy to me, dude. It's so wild. Yeah, it's wild too.
Look, that's the same. Like they're right there. They're like, But I think that's because they're probably shooting this thing a little bit guerrilla style. They don't have the money. This is a tight budget, and Tarantino will steal some shots if he can.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's wild too because like after the cop gets tortured and then Orange shoots Mr. Blonde. Like they had their little conversation amongst themselves, and the beat cop is telling them, he's like, yeah man, they're all right around the corner, they're just waiting for Joe to show up. So it's like everyone's expendable, you know what I mean? Like it's like, dude, these guys are in here, they're supposed to be cops, you're supposed to be looking out for them and whatnot, and they're getting tortured, and y'all ain't even coming to help them because you're just still sticking to the goal. They're like, if Joe don't show up, pretty much we don't care what happens.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Dude, look at the people, they're just sitting there like they're looking at somebody under their hood working on a car. They're just chilling, and this guy just let off like mad shots. They're like less than 100 yards away, dude. So,
yeah, man.
That's one of them. You catch the flaws in the background. Making the film. This is funny to me, but it's nuts, man. But then Joe finally does show up, and that gets interesting. And Joe dropping the info. Joe was like, "Yo, that dude's a cop.
Yep.
And Mr. White's like, nah, it can't be. And Joe's there with his son, and then we get this is another Tarantino staple, which I think he definitely got from Robert Rodriguez. I can't remember when Mariachi came out, but that Mexican standoff where everyone's pointing their guns.
Yeah.
And I think, and I'm not saying, I don't think Mariachi made it. Wasn't the first one to do that, but he definitely, Robert Rodriguez did that in a lot of his films.
Yeah.
In that era. Oh, he might have brought it back, but we get that scene. Everybody's guns is on everybody, and then it's like, bah, like
they're like standing almost in a triangle, and everyone lets off at the same time.
But it's crazy because it's Mr. White, it's Joe's son, and they all got their guns pointed at each other. And it's funny to me, they all kind of shoot at the same time, and then two guys go down, and like I was like, yo, how did he only shot one time? So I think he shot Joe, but then after everybody hits the ground, I think Mr. White's still alive. Joe and his son are dead. But then Mr. Pink crawls from up under the gate, so he must have shot one of them. Like he must have, dude. Because I don't think Mr. White shot both of them. And that was interesting to me. He crawls out, grabs the jewels, and I don't think he makes it. Did they show? I think it's more of a sound thing.
No, because then White he goes over to Mr. Orange, and he's like. He's been vouching for this dude the whole time. He knows now.
Yeah, he knows.
You're a cop. So, he takes him out. And then, that's when Mr. Pink, tries to escape. But then you hear the sirens in the background.
Yeah, and the gunshots. But then, while that's going on, Keitel still hasn't abandoned him. But it looks like he's about to take him out of his misery, though. And he's standing over him. He's just dealing with that. He's like, I trusted you. You just see the disgust on his face. And he's about to off this guy. But then another off-screen thing, dude, I'm telling you, dude, they definitely stress his budget. It's all sound effects then at this point. We hear the doors open and the cops come in. We never see the cops. They're like, put the gun down. We'll kill you. We'll kill you. And he's still there contemplating about to smoke Mr. Orange. And then he's just bow. They don't even show him getting shot. It's just like he just falls out of the frame.
Yep.
Like another budget thing, but it still works. It's so brilliant. Boom, and the credits is up, man. And he's just like, wow. Like it's a wild ride, man. I definitely, if you haven't seen it, I don't think you made it this far if you haven't seen it because we spoiled the shit out of it. But
yeah,
it's one of them ones that I feel like is just required viewing if you like films. You know what I'm saying? And especially if you like these crime thrillers, man. Like I don't think it really presented something new. Man, we've always dealt with these mold kind of stories, but I think it did put a nice little twist on it, and it put his flourishes on there, and it kind of established him, man. Because like I remember reading about this, and this is before internet era, man. When magazines, entertainment magazines and stuff, and sometimes they'll have a film section, and this would be popping up, or in a newspaper, someone will write an article on it or something like that, but. Yeah,
I think this film got banned for a while too, because of the violence, because of
maybe in some places, or I could see Europe maybe make it, or maybe they would have to do a different cut with that scene edited a little bit where he cuts the ear. Yeah,
but and like you said, this is a testament to Quentin Tarantino's storytelling and his style, the way that he does things. Because we see this. Happen in pretty much all of his films, but this was the one that kind of set the tone. Yeah.
What happened to Chris Penn? He was solid.
I think he passed away.
Oh, he did?
I think he passed away, yeah.
Wow, shit. Dang, I forgot. I gotta look that up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, man. All I can say for this one, man, is definitely check it out, man. It's like it's a staple of the you put up the top crime genre films, and this is definitely going to be on most people's list, man. It's just a really just an interesting story, man. The way they told it and you put it together, man. And like I said, this is Tarantino's first directorial debut, and I don't think it's as polished as his later work, but it's definitely a good indicator of what's to come.
Absolutely. And the cool thing about it is it leaves so much to the imagination. Like we never really see the heist, we just but we get such a visual of what happened because of how they all talk about it through their own perspective, pretty much. You know what I mean? And I thought that was really cool too, because it's almost like like reading a book. You know what I'm saying? You leave it up to the reader or the viewer to come up with their own, version of what happened with giving, the cliff notes throughout. You know what I mean? And I think that was a really cool approach for him to take, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of what separates this film from other films in this genre, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely, man, definitely. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's so memorable. It's iconic. The art, just the style, like even the cover is kind of like a play on. You've seen that picture of who was Frank Sinatra in them?
Was that Ocean's 11?
Well, nah, but I'm thinking more of when they were hanging out with Sammy Davis and all them. I guess that was that from that movie, but they weren't called the Wild Bunch, but the five. What the hell were they? His little crew. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Him and Dean Martin and all them hanging out. Yeah. So it kind of reminds you of that a little bit, man. They definitely lifted some of that stylings.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's crazy, man. It's great. I'm looking at Mr. Pink crawl from under the steps now, dude. And he didn't even like the name Mr. Pink. He's like, you'll take whatever name I give you.
I love that part. Yeah, he's like, man, it kind of sounds like Mr. Pussy. And then that's when Quentin Tarantino's like, well, I don't want to be Mr. Brown. That's kind of like Mr. Shit. You know what I mean? Like, it's those little things that they stick with you. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he definitely has a way of putting that humor, into these things. You know what I'm saying? And yeah, it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, man. And like I said, the simplicity of it all just kind of makes it feel that much more realistic. You know what I mean? Which, that also is a really cool approach. You know what I'm saying? And that's why, I enjoy this film. It's not real. It's still a movie, but it feels more realistic than other films that, like when you watch Heat or you watch, other films, you get a sense where like some of the stuff that they're pulling off is just
like a Point Break. It's just like, bruh. Even though it's fun to watch and it's a thrill ride, that'll be a good one to do on here.
Yeah,
because Point Break has just those crazy elevated, like when you see these guys fleeing from this bank job, it's pretty realistic because it doesn't go well. They put it this way, they're messed up, dude. And like put it this way, man, FBI has a good track record of catching bank robbers, dude. Like it's the percentage of you getting away with it is kind of low. And but you watch Point Break, man, they're ducking through the alleys and throwing pit bulls, and it's so cool to watch. But in reality, it's tougher. It's tough to pull things off like that. Like their president's disaster from the top. Like there's so many things that can go wrong, and I like the fact that this one it went wrong, dude. Like it just happened to be where boom. And even in the planning stage when the dude was talking about there's about 20 employees, I was like 20. That's a lot of people to have to deal with, bro.
Right?
I could see why my man probably started shooting.
yeah. My man, he said,
crazy,
I told him not to
man.
hit the alarm. They hit the alarm. I don't like alarms.
yeah, dude. Yeah. It's wild, man. It's definitely a classic, man. I could speak on that one, man.
Definitely.
So what we got? We'll probably get another one in before going into February, because I think February we're going to take some time and highlight some Black History Month kind of fare. So I'm not sure what we got for this next show, but we're going to be back soon. You know what I'm saying? Back on here to talk more classics of cinematics. So make sure you subscribe to the channel. And we're going to be back, man. It's been Monk. You can catch me at Monkey Blood on Twitter, Instagram. Follow the podcast. What's not a podcast? Follow the show. I don't think we got an official Twitter for this or Instagram set up yet, but we're all from the Canopy Network, so follow that and you'll be aware whenever we drop a new show and everything, on this.
Hell yeah, and this Bobby Blockbuster. You can catch me on Instagram at Bobby Blockbuster 118.
All right, folks. Peace.